I've discovered something about life. Most people don't lose their dreams because they fail. They lose them because they forget. They forget why they started. Somewhere between the noise of the world and the chase for comfort, that burning reason, that spark that once woke them up in the morning quietly fades away. It's not that people become lazy, it's that they become distracted. And distraction, my friends, is the most expensive thing in the world. It costs you your focus, your growth, and sometimes your destiny. See, a man can survive hunger, he can survive failure, but he cannot survive disconnection from his purpose. Because the moment your why becomes unclear, every how feels heavy. I want you to think about this. How many dreams have died not because they were impossible, but because someone scrolled them away? How many goals have been postponed in exchange for another hour of entertainment, another dose of comfort? You see, we live in a world where attention is being auctioned every second, and the highest bidder is not your success, it's distraction. But today, I want to challenge you to stop giving your time to things that don't build you, and to remember the fire that once made you begin. Remember the moment you said, "Enough is enough. I will change my life." That moment was not an accident. It was a call from your future self saying, "Come find me." So before we talk about strategies or routines, let's begin with a deeper question. When did you stop remembering who you were becoming? Because the secret to power, to success, and to freedom lies in one simple act: to remember. When you remember why you started, you realign your focus, reignite your discipline, and rebuild your destiny. So today, let's go back to that place, the moment your dream was born. Let's wipe the dust off that vision, silence the noise, and rebuild the bridge between where you are and where you were meant to go. Because the truth is, your future is not waiting for more time, it's waiting for more focus. You've got to guard your mind like it's the most precious treasure you'll ever own, because it is. Your mind is the gateway to every decision, every action, and ultimately, every result in your life. The problem is, most people leave that gate wide open. They let anything and everything walk right in. Negativity, gossip, fear, doubt. And then they wonder why their garden doesn't grow. You see, what enters your mind shapes what exits your life. You can't plant weeds and expect a harvest of roses. Distraction doesn't begin on your phone or at your desk. It begins in your thoughts. It's the small, seemingly harmless indulgence of attention that steals hours, days, even years. If you don't take charge of your mind, someone else will. And believe me, the world is full of people and systems waiting to rent space in your head for free. I remember early in my career, when I was still trying to find my footing, my mentor told me, "Be careful what you allow in your ears and eyes, because it all ends up in your heart." That was the day I stopped letting every bit of news, every complaint, every distraction dictate my thinking. I realized my mind was like a factory. It could only produce what I allowed into it. Garbage in, garbage out. But wisdom in, prosperity out. So I started filtering everything that came my way. I stopped listening to the crowd that said it couldn't be done. I started listening to those who had done it. I read books instead of headlines. I listened to ideas instead of gossip. I decided that my mental diet was going to be as clean and disciplined as my goals required. If you want to guard your mind, you've got to set boundaries. Start with small steps. Limit your screen time. Turn off the notifications that demand your attention every 5 minutes. Begin your mornings not with noise, but with 30 minutes of reading or reflection, something that feeds your purpose. And don't be afraid to unfollow or distance yourself from those who constantly distract you from your goals. Remember, you can't soar with eagles if you spend your time clucking with chickens. Guarding your mind isn't just about protecting your peace. It's about preserving your potential. Because the moment you take control of what enters your mind, you take back control of what your life produces. Consistency is one of life's greatest powers, yet it's also one of the rarest to master. Most people think success is built in the big moments, the grand decisions, the bursts of inspiration, the lucky breaks. But I've learned that success is really just a few simple disciplines practiced every day. You don't need to do everything. You just need to do the right things long enough for the results to start showing. You see, distraction loves inconsistency. It feeds on broken routines, on days that start with no plan and end with no progress. But when you build rhythm, when your life has structure and your actions align with your purpose, chaos has no room to grow. Routine kills distraction because it removes the need to decide over and over again what matters. I remember when I was just starting out, I didn't have much money, but I had time. My mentor said, use it wisely. Create structure even before success arrives. So I built a simple morning routine. I'd wake up early, read something valuable, reflect in my journal, and plan my day. It didn't look like much, but that structure became my foundation. Over time, those small disciplines compounded. I didn't notice it after one day or 1 week, but after a few months, I realized I was moving forward while others stayed in the same place, waiting for motivation to strike. Motivation is unreliable. It comes and goes like the weather. But discipline, that's what you can build. When your routine becomes sacred, your results become inevitable. If you want to build consistency, don't start with intensity. Start with intention. Create a fixed morning routine. Begin your day before the world begins to demand your attention. Read something that grows you. Write down your thoughts, your plans, your goals. Before you open your messages or emails, complete one important task that moves your vision forward. That one win gives you momentum for the rest of the day. And track your progress. Even small victories matter. Because one disciplined day turns into a habit, and habits turn into results. That's the secret. You don't need to do extraordinary things occasionally. You need to do ordinary things extraordinarily well every single day. Consistency compounds, and over time, it becomes the bridge between where you are and where you dream to be. Your environment is quietly shaping your destiny every single day. Most people don't realize it, but you don't rise to your goals. You fall to the level of your surroundings. The air you breathe, the conversations you entertain, the energy you allow in your space, all of it influences what you become. You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with, and that's not just about people, it's about the ideas, the habits, and even the atmosphere that surround you. Your environment can be a garden that grows your dreams or a swamp that slowly drowns them. And if you don't take charge of it, it will take charge of you. I remember early in my journey, I used to spend time with people who complained about everything. Their jobs, their circumstances, the economy. They were good people, but their thinking was small. And every time I left those conversations, I noticed something. I felt smaller too. I wasn't as motivated, not as driven. It wasn't until my mentor told me, if you want to change your life, change your environment first, that I understood what was holding me back. I started spending more time around people who talked about growth, opportunity, ideas. I started visiting places that inspired me, bookstores, offices, conferences. Little by little, my thoughts began to change. And when my thoughts changed, my results changed. If you want to control your environment, start with an audit. Look closely at your circle. Who inspires you? Who drains you? Who pushes you to grow? And who keeps you comfortable? It's not about judging others. It's about protecting your focus. Next, choose environments that elevate your energy and remind you of your mission. Maybe it's a library where silence sharpens your thoughts, a workspace that keeps you productive, or even a quiet room where you can plan without interruption. And keep your goals visible. Hang your vision board where you can see it every day. Write affirmations on sticky notes. Fill your space with reminders of where you're headed. The goal is simple: design a world that reflects your dreams, not your distractions. Because if you don't shape your environment intentionally, it will shape you by default, and that default rarely leads to greatness. Discipline has gotten a bad reputation. People think it's restriction, that it's something that takes the fun out of life. But the truth is the opposite. Discipline is what gives you freedom. Without discipline, you wake up every day reacting to the world instead of directing it. You end up serving your impulses instead of your intentions. Distraction promises comfort. It whispers, relax, take it easy, you can do it later. But later never comes. And every time you give in to that voice, you hand over a piece of your future. Discipline, on the other hand, is uncomfortable at first, but it pays you back with time, control, and peace of mind. It's the bridge between your goals and their accomplishment. Without it, all you have are wishes. I remember when I first started building my business. There were days when I didn't feel like making calls, reading the reports, or studying late into the night. The temptation to relax was always stronger than the desire to grow. But I learned something: comfort is easy to start and hard to live with. Discipline is hard to start but easy to live with. When you discipline yourself to do what must be done, when it must be done, the rest of your life becomes easier. Discipline creates structure, and structure creates freedom. It's what allows you to take vacations without guilt, rest without anxiety, and enjoy success without chaos. Start your day with the hardest task, not because it's fun, but because it builds momentum. When you win the morning, you win the day. Schedule your distractions after you've earned them, not during your work. Distraction is a reward, not a right. And when you complete your disciplined work sessions, reward yourself. That small act teaches your mind that discipline leads to pleasure, not pain. Over time, this rewires your thinking. You stop fighting discipline and start craving it. Remember, discipline is not punishment. It's protection of your dreams, your potential, and your peace. Every act of discipline earns back control over your life. When you keep your promises to yourself, you stop being a slave to impulse and start being the architect of your destiny. The reward for discipline isn't just success, it's freedom. Freedom to live life on your terms, to go where you want to go, and to become who you were meant to be. One of the greatest mistakes people make is writing their goals once and never looking at them again. That's like planting a seed and then never watering it. Goals are living things. They need attention, energy, and constant review. The reason most people get distracted isn't that they lack discipline or intelligence, but because they lose sight of what they're aiming for. When your goals fade from view, your motivation fades with them. Distraction rushes in to fill the space where purpose once lived. Every week, take time to look at your goals again. I used to do it every Sunday evening, a quiet moment before the noise of the new week began. I'd sit down with a notebook and review what I'd accomplished, what I'd neglected, and what needed more of my attention. It wasn't always comfortable, because that notebook told the truth. But it kept me accountable. It kept me aware. There's something powerful about facing your goals on paper. It reminds you of your promises, not to others, but to yourself. When you look at your goals weekly, they stop being distant dreams and start becoming real, measurable targets. Write your top 3 goals where you can see them every day, on your mirror, on your desk, or even in your wallet. Let them follow you. The more you see them, the more your subconscious begins to work toward them. Keep them specific, measurable, and emotionally charged. It's not enough to say, I want more money. You must know why, to buy back your time, to help your family, to build freedom. Goals with emotion attached have energy. They pull you forward when discipline alone can't push you. Before your week begins, close your eyes and visualize success. See yourself achieving those goals, the feeling, the freedom, the confidence. That vision sets your intention and guides your actions. If you start your week without direction, distractions will decide for you where to go. But if you begin with clear goals, you command your week instead of chasing it. Remember, goals are your compass. Without them, you drift. With them, you decide. Review them weekly, refine them when necessary, and reignite your passion for them often. Because when your goals stay alive in your mind, distractions lose their power and progress becomes inevitable. The most powerful way to silence distraction is to remember who you're becoming. Because when you forget that, every little thing can pull you off course. The phone buzzes, the world shouts, opportunities tempt you to drift. But when you know who you are and who you're working to become, the noise loses its grip. Success isn't something you chase, it's something you attract by the person you become. What matters most isn't the goal itself, but the transformation required to reach it. When I first started in business, I thought success was all about money, how much I could earn, how fast I could get there. But I discovered something remarkable. I didn't have to chase wealth. I had to grow into the kind of person who could handle it. Every level of success demands a higher level of character, focus, and discipline. If you don't develop the strength to match your goals, even if you achieve them, you'll lose them. That's why growth must always come before gain. At the end of each day, ask yourself a simple question. Did I act like the person I want to become? It's not about perfection, it's about direction. Maybe today you were more patient, more focused, more disciplined. Or maybe you slipped and let distractions win. That's fine too. Awareness is the first step toward mastery. Keep a journal not just of what you did, but of what you learned. Record the lessons, the moments that tested you, the thoughts that shaped you. Over time, that journal becomes a mirror showing your evolution. You'll see how your thinking deepened, how your standards rose, how your old distractions lost their charm. And don't wait for big milestones to celebrate. Celebrate growth. Every time you choose discipline over comfort, every time you choose focus over noise, that's victory. You're building strength invisible to others but invaluable to you. Because success isn't built overnight, it's built daily, in the quiet moments when no one's watching. When you focus on who you're becoming, the distractions of today can't steal the promise of tomorrow. Stay connected to your vision, to the version of yourself you're shaping. Because in the end, you don't just reach success, you grow into it. And once you do, no one can take it from you. Every journey begins with a spark, a moment when something inside you said, I want more. More freedom, more meaning, more possibility. That spark was your vision, your reason why. But as time goes on, as responsibilities pile up and distractions creep in, that spark can dim. You forget the fire that once burned in your chest. You forget what made you start. And when your why fades, your discipline weakens, your focus drifts, and your motivation starts depending on moods instead of mission. That's why you must reignite your original vision, because the walls of discipline are built on the foundation of purpose. Without that foundation, even the strongest walls will crumble. I remember when I began my journey toward success. I didn't start because I wanted luxury or applause. I started because I was tired. Tired of being broke, tired of making excuses, tired of seeing more potential in the mirror than I was living in my life. That pain was powerful. It became my fuel. And whenever I felt distracted or unmotivated, I went back to that feeling, that determination to never live another year the same way. That's what kept me on track. You must return to your reason, because emotion is what gives logic power. Take some time to write a short mission statement for your life. One paragraph from the heart. It doesn't have to sound poetic or perfect. It just has to be true. Read it aloud every morning before you check your phone, before the noise of the world competes for your attention. Let it set the tone for your day. And find a physical reminder of your goal, a photo of your family, a note from your past self, a token that symbolizes your dream. Keep it where you'll see it daily. It's not superstition, it's strategy. That symbol keeps your purpose visible. And what stays visible stays valuable. You see, people don't lose focus because they're lazy. They lose focus because they forget why they began. So, go back to your beginning. Feel that original fire. Revisit the pain you wanted to escape and the freedom you were chasing. Let that feeling move you again. Because when your purpose is clear, discipline becomes natural, distractions lose their power, and your dream starts to feel alive again, just like it did the day you first began. We live in an age where attention has become the new currency, and most people are going bankrupt without realizing it. Every minute you spend scrolling through meaningless content, every hour lost in comparison or entertainment, is a piece of your future quietly slipping away. You may not see the cost immediately, but it adds up just like interest, only this time it compounds in the wrong direction. What you think about, you bring about. And if your thoughts are consumed by trivial things, your life will be too. That's why I always say, don't let the small things steal your attention from the big picture. There was a time I'd come home after a long day, and spend hours on distractions, television, idle conversations, small entertainments that gave momentary comfort but no progress. Then one day, I realized something uncomfortable. While I was busy watching others live their dreams, my own was gathering dust. That's when I made a rule: my mind was not for rent to entertainment. It was an asset meant for investment. From that moment, I decided that my attention was sacred. Every minute would either move me closer to my goals or away from them. No neutral ground. You must treat your attention like gold. Before you open that app or turn on that show, pause and ask, will this feed my mind or starve my focus? If it doesn't serve your future, it doesn't deserve your time. Set boundaries. Use app timers no more than 15 minutes per platform. Replace at least 1 hour of screen time each day with learning time. Read, study, think, plan. That 1 hour a day doesn't seem like much, but multiplied over a year, it becomes 365 hours of growth, the difference between staying the same or stepping into a new life. And here's something that helped me tremendously: keep a distraction journal. Every time you find yourself wandering away from your work, write it down. Identify what pulled you, and then write how you'll fix it. Over time, you'll see patterns and awareness will become your power. Because the truth is, entertainment is not evil, but dependency is deadly. You can control your attention and you control your future. Lose it and someone else will gladly spend it for you.